Hi, my name is Ralph White, and I'm an alcoholic. Bill, would you remind me where we're reading?
Yeah, help me out here, team. I think it's page 85.
Yeah, it was sent to me in an email, but of course I'm not in front of my email.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's up
I
on the
got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I got my book. So it's on page 85 in the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, Into Action. And you highlighted for me, it's easy to let up on the spiritual program of action. That's the paragraph. Okay, I'm going to assume it is.
I think that's it. I don't have it in front of me. Sasha, is that correct?
Yeah,
Yes,
that was
sir.
what was highlighted. Okay,
Okay.
it is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. We are not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will in all our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of the will. Um, uh, thank you. I'd rather read from my book because I like to see you guys. I feel like I'm in a meeting there. Okay. So I appreciate the screen set, but I'm going to read. So, and again, before we get started, I want to welcome our new friends to Alcoholics Anonymous. And we had a few tonight, and I want to welcome you. And where we're picking up the reading might sound a little strange and it might sound a little foreign. I'm gonna uh, so I'm going to try to talk to everybody that's here. Where we're picking up the reading this week is actually at our 10th step, and it's in the middle of the discussion on the 10th step in the big book Alcoholics Anonymous, which is interesting. The 10th step follows our other 9 steps, and what we really have, so I appreciate the format of a meeting like this, and I don't want to come in here and impose what I think this meeting is about, but my sobriety date is October 11th, 1986. And that does not make me an expert in Alcoholics Anonymous. It does not make me an expert on the big book Alcoholics Anonymous. It does not make me an authority on our program or on our steps. You know, I have a friend and I like to steal it. It does make me a satisfied customer. And I like to talk about it. And this program of ours, what it really is a design for living. There are several places, new friends, if you don't know what you're signing up for. And so what I'm signing up for is a new way of life. I'm gonna get to the read, but I think it's important. Um, um, to put this in context. So I come here broken. I get to you guys at 33 years old and I'm broken. And I had had some things. I'm a real alcoholic of the hopeless variety, and I had lost it all. And when I made it here to you, um, the gorilla was on me. And the first thing I wanted to do was get the gorilla off me. You know, I didn't come up in here walking toward the light. I came up in here running from the fire. And I wanted to get the gorilla off me. You guys share with me what it was that I suffered from. I suspected I knew what it was, but I didn't. This is an interesting piece that I'm going to tie into our reading tonight. You know, I suffer from something that's a physical component that is super important that I understand. Then there's when I take one, I can't control when I'm going to stop. Then when honestly don't want to pick up again, I can't stop picking up. But I don't approach the solution to this from either one of them. I don't approach it from the physical and I don't approach it from the mental. I approach it from the spiritual place. Wow, that's crazy. Was not expecting that one, didn't want to expect that one. I came here, overdose of religious education, wasn't trying to hear anything about God. I'm a cynic, a skeptic, a scoffer. Um, you guys call me an agnostic. Sent me to a solution, and so I grasped that, got on my knees with some people. I want my life to look different. Did some writing. I did some uncovering and discovering and discard what's blocking me. So that third step, which is where I rest, um, It's too much me between me and this power, right? Relieve me of the bondage of self. That's the whole purpose of the rest of what we're doing. That's why we get to this 10th step. So I do some writing, you guys, and I do some revealing, and I do some sharing. I'm a secret keeper, and I'm a shame-based guy. I don't want to tell nobody where I come from. You don't ever tell your business. You certainly ain't writing it down. That's a paper trail, but I do that. I turn over some stuff. I get different, you guys. And then when I come out of talking to somebody about it, in in black and white, you know what? All this stuff you've been blaming on other people, it's some stuff in you, dude. That's a lifetime process. That's 6 and 7, you guys, because it'll look easy at first, but trust me, I'm 34 years in, and that idea of self overcoming self, it takes a long time to die. That 6 and 7 is another surrender, and people in there's levels of that surrender, but I do it, right? I do it as best I can right then. Then I go see some people and I'm different. I go knee to knee, eye to eye, and I clean up my messes, right? So now, while I'm in the process of doing that, it tells me I get a new address. We call that the realm of the spirit. Okay, I'm cool in the game. I've written inventory. I've looked at my stuff. I shared it with somebody. I should be good to go. I'm living in the realm of the spirit. Ego smash, good to go. Hold up, dude. You ain't gonna never rise above human. You are not gonna stop. So last week, you guys probably read about that 10th step, and it says continue to take personal inventory. And it says, Ralph, this is what I want you to do when you get there, because you're doing big boy stuff now. We're working with power tools. Up until this point, it was a lot of manual labor. When you first write inventory, it's a lot of manual labor. But now when you do some clearing away and you walk and you living in the sunlight of the spirit, it's suspicious why the same thing in the 4th step pops back up in the 10th step. But why can I do it so much quickly? Because I'm working with power tools now. Ralph, you still, yeah, you think you're good to go. You sponsoring some people, you done written in inventory, you want to come talk about it, and you've been, nah, dude, you still you. You still you. You've been doing this. When I wrote my first inventory, I was about 16 months sober, but I was 34 years old. I had a whole lot of years of self-will. I had a whole lot of self-will hardwired. You know what I'm saying? So when we sit up in here and you guys go through the book every week and people be thinking and pulling out the dictionary and think I'm floating, this is life. This ain't a homework assignment. I didn't come to talk to you guys because we're going to talk about a homework assignment. I came to talk to you guys because for 34 years, I've been doing something that's giving me legs, that stands me up, that makes me a dad, that lets me walk and see the world. And I didn't come here to talk about this stuff so then we can walk away and start quoting pages. And that's cool. If you guys, anybody want to do that, that's cool. But I like talking to men and women that want to do something different with their life, that want to hold their babies, want to model, want to be somebody, want to do some things. And so this right here gives me legs. And so when it gets to the 10th route, turn on your watcher. We're talking about a way of living. I know I'm getting ready to get in what you guys tasked me with tonight, which is the reading, right? But it's real important. I know why it is, and I give context to what it is why it is I do what I do. This 10th step is real. It's so now this is how you're going to live your life the rest of your life. I still do inventories. I've been doing this. I'm part of a workshop. Where as a group we go together. So I've written probably, I don't know how many inventories, well in the double digit. I still do them and the rest of that. But I try to live my life in when you make a mess, clean it up right now. That's what a 10 step is. Turn on your watcher. Watch for resentment, fear, dishonesty, and selfishness. That sounds suspiciously like a 4th step. Yeah, suspiciously. Same stuff. Self came over. Remember, we talked about we're going to consider self and its common manifestations. Self with don't wash, rinse, repeat. That's what I do the rest of my life, you guys. This is a lifetime endeavor. So now I'm doing this. And it say, okay, you living in the sunlight of spirit. Then last week, you guys read about the 10-step promises that you're going to read again at the end of the night. Powerful stuff. powerful stuff. It talks about reacting sanely, 4 by now, it says alcohol is, I recoiled as if from a hot flame. This just happens. No effort on my part. Just think of Sandy Beach used to say, listen to the adjectives in the 10-step prayer, in that 10-step promises. Self-seeking will slip away. Not any work, it's powerful stuff, you guys. And for anybody that's new, and you sitting in here, Mike, on day 3, you looking at a guy with 34 years, and you think to yourself, like I thought to myself, I wonder, does he still think about getting loaded? I wonder, does it come up on him every day? I wonder, does he have to watch where he goes? Dude, it just comes. But don't be where you ain't. It says this, we will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without thought or effort on our part. It just, well, it feels like I had a lot of thought and effort. I wrote inventory. I talked to my sponsor. I did H&I panels. I went to a whole gang of meetings. But my new attitude toward liquor has been given me with no thought or effort on my part. I didn't take the taste out of my mouth. That just happened. And I don't know when it happened. For all of us here, it's a retrospective recognition. All of us, by the time we realize it's happened, it's a looking back experience. For the longest time, I used to say, if I could get loaded with no consequences, I would. I don't know when it happened. That seemingly I wouldn't, even if I could. So now we talk. So then you got these 10-step promises. So what happens? Why do people get loaded again if they've been doing this? I imagine out of Heather, Kurt, Rachel, Mike, and Casper, I imagine that not everybody in that group is a newcomer. I call them 2 categories of newcomers, new newcomers and used newcomers. The new newcomer is on fire. It's shiny. It's bright. We're new. When we read chapter 5 and I start recognizing, and I can't wait to go to a meeting, and I read chapter 5 and I look up, I don't even have to look at the word. I'm so proud of myself, But the used newcomer, on the other hand, when you say welcome to him, don't be welcoming me. I was here when you got here. Surly, resentful, hard to get back. I feel you. What happens with people who've been on this path? And that's what I started reading tonight. Why is it that somebody, because it's easy to let up on the spiritual program of action. Why is it so easy? Because God, this power, this realm of the spirit, works anonymously. Don't mind if I start taking credit. This power is not don't have physical characteristics and human characteristics. I want to take the credit. When I went to church, I thought people would say worship God. And I thought, why does this guy want to be, well, why you got to bow down? That's what people say. This power will work and operate whether I acknowledge or not. The problem with me not acknowledging is the power problem with me not acknowledging. If I'm not acknowledging, then I start thinking I'm the power. You know the difference between me and God? God ain't never woke up and thought he was me. He ain't never woke up and this business of easy to let up. So how does the letting up on the spiritual program action first look? I got some stuff. Annie is sitting in there in the square, and then when we talk about the 11th step, I'm gonna skip it. No, I'm not going to use you right now, Annie, because that's an 11 step example. So I'm not going to go there. But it's easy to let up on the spiritual program of action because this is what happens. Alexa, you get a family, the kids, you start going to soccer practice. You start being a dad. Maybe you get a promotion at work. And then I start maintaining I get so busy maintaining the blessings, I forget to maintain the relationship with the one that gave it to me. I got to get my hustle on. I got to go after this money. I got to go after baby. After all, I've been after her for a long time. She finally given me some rhythm. I got it. Okay, we'll miss. We'll sit down tonight and we'll just binge watch Ozark. We'll get that in. We'll go to the meeting tomorrow. Next thing you know, it gets real easy to let up on the spiritual. This meditation in the morning, I'm tired. I stayed up too late last night binge watching Ozark. So now I can't get up in the morning. I got to jump up and head right out the One day turns into two, turns into three. Now somebody asks me something, then I call up and ask somebody, Norma, can you cover for me on my commitment? Ooh, those start slipping away. And slowly but surely, I back out of Alcoholics Anonymous. This is what I want you to do, Mike, and I'm gonna talk to you too, Kurt, with your 12 days. I want you to come all the way in, sit all the way down. I don't know if you've been with us before, but you might have circled the periphery. Come all the way in, sit all the way down, and do what we do. Sit all the way down and do what we do. So it's easy to let up. Why is it easy to let? So what happens when you let up like that, Ralph? We headed for trouble. Why? Because alcohol is crafty. Alcohol is sneaky. Alcohol is a subtle foe, is the way that the book put it. But we know who we are, and we know it laying there. It's crafty, sneaky. It will not come at you as a bottle. It's gonna come at you as Amanda. You know, that's how it's gonna come, Bill. It ain't gonna come as a bottle. It's gonna come at you as a paycheck. It's gonna come at you maybe well intentioned. Well, me, it sounds good. I need balance. That's a dangerous word for a guy like me. Because when I'm in the life, I'm all the way in the life. There is no more Christmas. There is no more birthdays. There are no, I get down like that. So I'm not one that's big on balance. Life will give that will impose it on you. My default position is checking. So I'm an all in type of guy. I've been all in for the last 34 years. There are benefits to that. Well, we really, because we're not cured of alcoholism. So what are we working with, new friends? Here's the deal. When we talk about you will hear people and people get in arguments and debate, recovering. Who cares? Don't put it in your mouth. I'm one that ain't put the, don't trip off that kind of thing. You trip if you ain't in either one of them camps. If you want to have a debate about recovered or recovering, that's cool. But you really tripping if you ain't in either one of them. What we really have is because here's the deal. This is why it says we're not cured of alcoholism, you guys, because we don't have any step for after you take the first one. We don't have a step that addresses the physical allergy. You on your own. You on your own. If you take the first one, we ain't got one, we ain't got 12, we ain't got 24, we ain't got none. The doctor and the doctor's opinions is the only thing we can suggest for the physical allergy is total abstinence. That's what this sentence means when it says we're not cured of alcoholism. I'm still a pickle. I will stay pickle. I'm not going back to cucumber. New friends, you got that? So what we do, we have nothing for you if you put that one in. What do we talk about? Curiously, we found that if we come at it in the back, or if we come at it in the spiritual angle, something happens. Something happens. The taste is out my mouth. But I'm gonna share something with you while you got 28 days, Casper, and while you got 12, Kurt. That taste, there is going to be some effort on your part that's required for just not picking up the first one. Ain't got an awakened spirit yet. Ain't living in the realm of the spirit yet. Ain't in this. No, what do I do in the meantime? You come all the way in and you sit all the way down. And there's something about the herd immunity of Alcoholics Anonymous. There's something about the power of the power. See, because what it really is, it ain't information that keeps us here. It's grace. That's what I came to talk to you guys about tonight. I'm going to talk to you about accessing grace, because we don't create the grace. We don't control the grace. We can't predict the grace, but we catch it. And these steps, the rest of them, I have to get out. And grace, for you new guys, well, how am I going to get it, Ralph? Grace don't need an invitation. It just needs an opening. And the good news is the way it gets an open, broke people. That's how you get it. The more broken, the better. Didn't none of us come in here on a winning streak. That's the good news if you're sitting in here. That's the opening for grace. Just be beat. Just be defeated. Just give up. Done. Goose cooked. Done deal. So every day, what we really have is a daily reprieve each day. I want you to highlight this in your mind. You ain't got to take it out because this is a running theme. Each day, every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's wills in all our activities. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will in all our activities. Hold on to that. I hope we get to the next place where it's going to be talked about. I doubt it, because you guys see how long I've been on this one paragraph. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are thoughts which go with us constantly. 10 step, 11 step, they're going to sound a lot alike. Ralph, what's the difference? Ain't a whole lot of difference. This is who I am. I make messes, right? I spill. What a program. What a wonderful design for living we have for a guy like me. I'm a stumbling guy. I'm a hands dirty guy. I'm not a floaty guy. I'm not the guy that's been here all this long. Now, people ascribe some stuff to me. I get it, go out and talk. People know me and say this, but I still, I get raggedy sometimes. Every now and then it's grimy, so I need everything in this way of living. So what happens when you finally clean up your mess? You have a bunch of stuff behind you. You start making amends and you start cleaning up. Here's what happens. When you get a clean house, keep your house clean. Imagine you've been a hoarder, or you've been living in this raggedy place, and for 25, 30, 35 years, however old you are when you get here, you ain't never cleaned it up. Finally, you do some major lifting. We call that inventory. Major house cleaning. It's, oh my God, I sat down, I talked for 2.5, 3 hours. Major. Well, don't let the house get dirty. What kind of sense would that make? You getting ready to have company. You getting ready to see some people. You getting ready to have some new stuff. When you do this uncover, discover, and discard, God is making room. It may not look like what you think it's going to look like, but get ready. So this is what happens for a guy like me. When I spill some milk, clean it up right then. When I make a mess, clean it up right then. When I get sideways with somebody, get right then. But I don't get right then all the time. Sometimes, because I'm me, I hate to tell you guys this, even all these many years later, even haven't had a spiritual awakening, even being sponsored, even sponsoring diligently, even doing all that I do, I know you're going to find it hard to believe that there are still times that I just, somebody have it coming, and I let them have it, and I know I need to make them, but I ain't. What? No. No, because I'm still me. I don't rise above human. Sometimes it's not defiance. Sometimes it's negligence. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I'm in a hurry. Sometimes I'm just in life. Sometimes I say something to my mate, or I say something to a friend, or I say something to a coworker that I don't know was out of line, or I don't know was offensive. Sometimes I'm asleep at the wheel. I do a lot of, I'm busy, right? Check this out. What a program. So then when you miss it, Norma, when you miss it, if you get it sideways with someone, when you get to go home, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm so excited about that. Let me read. Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from him who has all knowledge and power. If we have carefully followed directions, we have begun to sense the flow of his spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. We have begun to develop this vital sixth sense, but we must go further, and that means more action. So now we talked about, much has been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from him who has all knowledge and power. So this spiritual thing, check out what it's talking about. What it's talking about is I want to be a channel. I don't want to just be, people say you got to give it away to keep it. It's not really about keeping it at all anyway. This program works. It works. Something has happened to me, but more importantly, something happens through me. It's happened to me, and it happens through me. I receive strength, inspiration, and direction. You guys know what it means when it's capital letters, whatever you call that power from who has all. If I've carefully followed the directions, I have begun to sense the flow of his spirit into us. I'm developing this vital sixth sense. We call it God consciousness. I'm on a different foot. That watcher is awake. It is not as comfortable for me to say, okay, Yeah, I let him have it, but Alan had it coming. He pushed me. He went a little bit too far. Somebody, every now and then somebody need a good cussing out, and I'm just the one that handed out. Something is different though. Something's different. I've begun to sense this, so I'm not a person that sits in front of you guys, and I know from our members, and I don't mean to disrespect what anybody shares. I know sometimes people get to the podium and think that it's comforting to tell new friends, look, I'm as close to a drink as you are. If you got up before me, you the soberest person in here, and I'm just as close to I think that does this program a disservice. If I look the same at 34 years as I looked at 34 days, why do what it is I've been doing all this time? Why would I encourage you to do it? Why would you need to do it? I'm not the same guy. I have been transformed. Something has happened in my life. I used to say it and play at it and talk about it, but I walk my own walk and sing my own song in my own voice, and that's big. Took me years, even sober, you know, to be comfortable in my own voice with my own walk. Don't get confused when it talks about, who have thoroughly followed this path and think that people think that this is just one. Yeah, it may be one broad highway path, but it's a lot of walks on the path. Find your walk. We ain't goose stepping down the road to happy destiny. We not lockstepping. We not, no. No, some people skipping, some people hopping, some people pimp, some people find your wall. It'll be yours. And you'll find it as a result of getting free of the bondage of me. Too much me. Too much me. I'm a guy that reads the room. And then I adjust and I adapt because I'm good at reading the room. Forget reading the room. I'm me. I'm 67 years old. I still trip. I pout when I don't get my way. Ask my girl. I withdraw. I roll over on the other side. I still do some stuff that disgusts me. But I'm not who I was. And you guys, I'm better with you than I am by myself. That's why I stay with you. That's why I don't let up on the spiritual program action. It has not been hard for me to be with you all these years. Step 11, we have begun, but first we must go further, and that means more action. Step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. We shouldn't be sorry on this matter of prayer. Better men than us are using it constantly. Better men than we are using it constantly. It works if we had a proper attitude and work at it. It would be easy to be vague about this matter, yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving toward all? What could we have done better? Were we thinking of ourselves most of the time, or were we thinking of what we could do for others, of what we could pack into the stream of life? But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others. After making our review, we ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. So now we have some instructions for the 11th step. And curiously, somebody should be asking, well, hold up. Why? It sounds like we do the 11th step at night. That's an odd time to start something. Most of the time, I would think when I'm going to start something, shouldn't I be starting it in the morning? In addition, I've been saying when I call spots in the middle of the night, I've been saying I'm 10th stepping. Dude, what are you saying to me? This is what I'm saying to you. Not the book, not your sponsor, not nobody else. What I'm saying to you is who cares what number you put in front of action? I don't care. Do it. Do it. Some folk call it that they doing a 10. I used to really get, and I'm not trying to be flippant and I've been doing this a long time, so I do it a little different. I wear it like a lifestyle. So check out what happens. I miss it in the daytime. You know what I'm saying? I'm going through my day and I'm busy. I get sideways with somebody, Jim, and I miss it. But I go to bed at night and I say, okay, let me take some quiet time. Here's the curious thing. Didn't those questions again sound suspiciously like the 10th step? It says, when we retire at night, we constructively, don't beat myself up, don't kick myself in the ass, don't let, oh man, you pieces, here you go, you did it again, because I do it again sometimes. There you go, you ain't gonna never be. That's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. Check this out, Sasha. We know that this new way of life is a new way of life. You're gonna stumble on it. We men, we women. Not only are we men and women, we come from some places. Ain't nobody in here coming in here from choir rehearsal. That's not what brought us in here at first. You know what I'm saying? So we got stuff. We have it. We have features. So don't I don't have to accept unacceptable behavior from me, but I do have to accept that I have unacceptable behavior in me. It's paradoxical, but that's why that's the other reason why I stay sponsored. 34 years I stay sponsored. Why? Because I don't grade my own paper. I'm giving myself an A when I done missed everything, but then I'm failing myself when actually all I'm doing is I'm getting it in. I'm growing. I don't know. So I'm not the best judge of that. That's why I need a sponsor. But I constructively review my day. Now check out, what did we read when we constructively review? Those 4 things pop up again. Resentful, selfish, dishonest, afraid. Isn't that bouncing me back to 10, which is bouncing me back to 4? Being convinced that self manifested in various ways was what had defeated us. We considered as common manifestations. So that's a running theme. That's a running theme in recovery. That's a running theme in my life. When I got off my knees on the 3rd step, I said, relieve me of not of the obsession to drink and use, not of this terrible thirst for beverage alcohol. I said something strange. Relieve me of the bondage of self. That's the rest of what it is we're doing, you guys. All of what it is we do has to do with too much self between me and the power, too much self between me and you. The simple formula for spiritual growth: grow God, shrink Ralph. Whole deal. That's what the whole rest of this process is designed to do, this ego reducing series. So in the 11th step, isn't it a wonderful thing, you guys, for people like us? Later on, I'm not going to get to that part in the reading tonight because I see my time is about up anyway. But it's going to talk about, so we let God discipline us in this simple way. Talk about being disciplined. Talk about a discipline. Talk about imposing something on me that I don't have to pick and choose it. When you join us, Casper, and because I'm looking at you, there's a way of life that's designed for guys like us, guys who think that they don't get second chances, guys that feel like they're never going to be welcome in nobody's life again, guys that feel like, oh my God, they know me, they see me. If they really know me, they ain't going to like me. We see you. There's a way out for a guy like me, and it's a design. Because Ralph, you're going to miss it sometime. In the spiritual realm, when you call yourself in recovery, you're going to cut somebody else in the daytime, or you're going to miss it. You're going to snub them. You're going to talk. You're not going to even know that you said something offensive. And you're so selfish and you're so self-centered. Even having practice, even with a spiritual awakening, I've been with you guys 30, but I had 33 years before I got to some stuff that was hardwired. But it's been some change. And so here's the good news. So I get sideways, so I do some stuff. Now I get home at night. I call it the double Lint trap. If you miss it in the daytime, now at night, I check it again. Oh, what a life. What a life. So now at night, I say, damn, you know what? You know what? You said it, you knew it, but you forgot to go back to Natasha. You forgot to go back to her. You didn't do, or you look at it and then it asks these questions. Was I kind and loving toward all? Damn, that's a lot. What could I have done better? Was I thinking of myself most of the time? And the interesting thing about that, it dovetails. I wish I had an opportunity to go through the morning meditation, but I guess I'm gonna shut it down. Um, but it dovetails with the morning meditation. I'm gonna just give you a little preview of the way that I kind of do what it is that I'm gonna do this real fast, you guys, and then I'm gonna shut it down. Okay. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance, for after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of wrong motives. So when I get up in the morning, you guys, I'm gonna just say this and I'm gonna get out. When I get up in the morning, a lot of people have a lot of meditation practices. Some people had dictionaries. I'm going to go back and read what did meditation mean in the third, in the rest of, and there are some, there's Western meditation, there's Eastern meditation, religious meditation. What I do and check this out, for many years, that was one of the weaknesses in the spiritual program action. But I'm telling you about grace. I'm telling you about grace. I'm telling you, especially new friends, especially people that's a year in. Happy birthday to you, Lauren, and happy birthday. I think it was a Lindsay 1 year and Jerry 2 today. Happy birthday, you guys. And I know people start thinking, I gotta do it perfect. Grace is broad, man. Thank God for grace. Thank God for grace. Thank God we're on a broad highway. You ain't gotta. When you invite a guy like me, I appreciate it, but sometimes it can give you the wrong idea and the wrong impression. Because I've been doing this a long time and I've been reading this book a long time and I do it in a workshop. And so it can give you the idea that you got to really be a scholar for your life to get better and different. I'm impressed with this guy, but I can't have that. I'm talking about the program of recovery. Ain't got a lot to do with living it. Most spiritual man I ever knew was my granddaddy. He didn't have a junior high school education. It ain't required. It ain't required for spiritual experience. It ain't required, Matt, Jim, Kirk. It ain't a requirement that you gotta be a great AA orator, and it ain't required. It's available. Sometimes when you go to these kind of meetings and you bring speakers in and you bring people in, and it seems like I gotta know how to go to the dictionary, I gotta be able to parse the words, I gotta be able to know the cornerstone and the foundation stone. No, I gotta be able to hug my baby. I gotta be able to be willing enough to take some direction from somebody else. I gotta be able to be willing, because our fellowship, what my fellowship, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you some secrets. I'm better with you than I am by myself. You take me in and you grow me up, and it's available. And not only is it available and accessible, it's fun. It ain't hard. Sometimes I used to think that doing this meditation, I got friends. They get up at 4:30 in the morning. They got a pond out by the house, and I'd be like, "Ooh, that sounds." But I ain't trying to do that, and I'll feel deficient. Don't trip off that. It's some mothers up in here. You don't have time to be getting up doing meditation at 6 in the morning. You got babies to deal with. God is God don't make hard terms with those who seek him. You will find your own practice in that. One of the things that I do, I read some books in the morning. It's 5 of them I read, but I only read, but it takes me 10 minutes to read them. So don't think, oh, this dude is doing, I read a daily reflection, a daily meditation. I read a couple of books, by some guys, Emmett Fox around the world, and I do snippets, and then when it says that thing, consider the 24 hours a day. I had a friend I heard share about her 11-step practice, and she says she does a to-do list when she does her 24 hours a day. And I'm in a bit, I do my work and I have a lot of stuff going on. So I started incorporating that. I thought you needed to just be quiet, doing the breath and the rest of this. Do what you do. And I started writing that. Now check out that morning. So at night, I can check whether what I've missed on my to-do list. The reason why we do the 11th step and it starts at night, you guys, is I leave Wednesday and Wednesday. When you get out for here tonight, and you go in and you lay down or you sit down and you review that stuff constructively, not beating yourself up, leave Wednesday and Wednesday. And you go and you say out and you say, okay, when I get to work tomorrow, I know I got to see Bill. When I do this, you ask God, what do I need to do? That's a prayer. You know, okay, God, you know your boy, you know my heart, whatever it is I miss, forgive me, I'm gonna keep it pushing. And when we're Thursday start, Wednesday is in Wednesday, and I wake up Thursday, and I start Thursday with Thursday, and that's what that morning meditation is about. I wish we had had a lot more time to go through a lot more reading, you guys, but I certainly thank you for inviting me to come out and share. I know I do more experience than I do instruction, but you know, instruction to me sometimes I like finger in your face. Get your finger out of my face. I'm not that guy, you know. So thank you guys for having me out. No, enough out of me.
Fabulous. Oh man, Ralph, thank you so much.